Lisa. I just want to do a little playing today with some book paper and paints and my Gelli plate. I think these are going to end up in my art journal. I've got all kinds of different things here to work with, from dictionary papers to there's a German translation dictionary and music paper and all kinds of different stuff. So here's some paint colors. This one is new to me, Taffeta Pink from Anita's. And then these things I bought at my local Goodwill store. I think it was a couple of dollars for a box that had, I believe it's 16 different designs that you can use. So we're going to try out some of these. There's lots of leaves and things in there. And I've got some other stuff to make some texture. So let's just play a little bit. Just pick a color or two and see what happens. So I'm starting with some Martha Stewart Pearl paint and some Golden Open acrylics, which stay wet a little bit longer. And then using these cork stamps. And I'll show you close-ups of all these at the end and how they finish off. Some of them I'm going to add extra layers. Most of them are going to get a couple of different layers. And some of them there's enough paint there to get a second pull. And those I usually like the best. Those are typically my favorite prints. Now the button board, I created that in an earlier video sometime earlier this year or last year, where I just glued a whole bunch of buttons onto a piece of chipboard. And that made some texture. In that one stamp there, I have that wood block. The stamp that's on it is what's left over from when you get stamping up stamps and you have to take them and mount them. That's what's left over. So that's where I got that bit of texture from. And then that one piece of paper there is a manual from some piece of equipment, an old piece of equipment. All kinds of fun things in book paper. If you're looking for a variety of book paper, I do sell packs in my Etsy shop that have all kinds of different things in them. And so it gives you a good sample pack to work with without having to go out and hunt up your own books or raid your own library. There's an architectural textbook there that has some fun designs to it. Then I added just a little bit more yellow to that one with the book paper on it. This stencil, that blue stencil with the keys and stuff, I got that at Hobby Lobby a long time ago. It gives you some fun designs for Gelli prints. That one paper that has the yellow design on it that I said came from a user's manual for some kind of piece of equipment. I just keep adding stuff to that. I'm not quite finished with it till I'm really, really finished. And we're going to do some blue and purple. So here's the completed ones, the blue. And then I love this one, you know, the book paper, whether it's a drawing or words, just gives you so much more interest in the background, no matter what you put on top of it. This one only has, I think, maybe one layer, maybe two, because it's got a little bit of yellow on there, but I just did those buttons, and then the words shine through. And this had a couple of layers. It really came out fun with the color arrangement. This is stuff from a pattern, a fabric pattern and a Latin textbook, I think. Here was that German dictionary or translation. And then this got a bunch of different patterns. So we'll start putting some of these on our paper here and kind of deciding what we want to do to add these to an art journal page. So I'm starting with Mod Podge Matte, and I'm going to use that to adhere all of these to my Strathmore Mixed Media Art Journal. Putting a layer of the Mod Podge on the journal as well as the back of the book paper. And then I put a little bit of that adhesive over the top as well, so I'll have a nice slick finish there. If I want to add more paint, it will disperse well, or if I want to use some markers for shading, I'll be able to move the ink around a little bit. So I have a lot more flexibility if I've had that Mod Podge over the top as well. So I picked a couple of my favorite papers to start with. And then we'll fill in with some of the others. I want to get some blue and green in here. I'm probably only going to use about half of the paper that I've worked up. And so I'll just put the rest in with my other Gelli plate prints, and sometimes these end up on other projects. Oftentimes they do. And some of these I'm trying to do like the cut edge of the paper, the finished edge on the edge of the art journal, so I don't have to trim off. I have to trim a little bit, but I don't have to trim a whole lot off of this when I get finished. I have no particular plan for this art journal page. This is just going to be, whatever it says to me when I get it done, or I get the background on there. And nothing in mind that I wanted to do. Sometimes I have an idea in mind of what I want, and other times it's just I want to play, and then I'll see where it leads me. And this one, I felt like it needed some black color to it. In this case, I decided to do circle. I really thought I'd want white, and I do add some white to it. But I've got a lot of color in the background, so I'm doing some neutrals here. Sometimes I use brown, grays, or more colors. I just felt like this needed some sharp contrast. And as I was working on this, these colors made me feel sort of passionate about art and about life. And the time I was doing this art journal, there was a lot of things going on in our country that people were expressing their passions about things, sometimes not always in a very positive way. So that's kind of what I decided to do with the page, is talk about channeling your passions, whatever you're passionate about, in a more positive way. Now this is some old gesso that is very thick, and I'm just trying to use it up. It is super, super thick, but it's fine for the art journal. It's so thick that a little bit of it actually peeled back up, but it's fine for an art journal. So I'm just trying to use it up. I have bought some fresh gesso, but I thought I might as well finish this one off. And using a stencil there from Crafter's Workshop, and I want my arrows to point to the right, like we've got some forward movement here, since we typically read left to right, and I didn't let that black paint dry quite enough, so I ended up with a little gray on the page without planning it that way. And I really liked the interlinking circles to kind of put some color in between them. I decided not to color all the circles in, but I'm using Faber-Castell markers and mostly letting that black paint dry. There was a couple places there I didn't, and I ended up with it on the marker, but it wipes off. You know, these markers are very durable and forgiving, thank goodness. But I'm just adding a little color where they come together, kind of subtly there. And that just adds another layer to this. I'm kind of trying to match the backgrounds behind the circles with each of the colors. And the circles were made using the middle of a glue dot roll. You know, what you have left over, that's what I used to do the circles. So this was going to say, channel your passions for good. And passions is from some really, really old stickers. These stickers probably go back to the early 2000s. I know where I bought them at the Scrapbooking Superstore in Sevierville, Tennessee. I'm fairly sure that's where they came from. They've had them a really long time. But I don't use stickers. I love October Afternoon little mini market stickers, some of their smaller stickers, but others I just don't use as much, especially if those are real big sheets, because they don't fit in the drawer with my other thickers and things. So Art Journal is a great place for me to use up my stickers. And I decided to add a little bit more journaling, so I wrote with the pink marker, you can't see it really well, my thoughts on what was going on. And then I'm using a liquid silver pen. This is a very old pen, and boy, I've used it before, but it was incredibly strong that day. I had to turn on the fan, leave the room. Really did. It was just really, really sharp smell to it. So I'll have to think about that again the next time I want to use it. Good, beautiful color. And so I'm just slowing down here because I'm going to show you the final Art Journal page with some close-ups. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you're interested in book paper, check out my Etsy shop at Lovely Layers Art. There'll be a link in the description for this video. You can find packs of book paper, music paper that are available, as well as some of my mixed media projects. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.